Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. It's Friday, December 5th, 2014, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here are tonight's top stories.
Tonight, Eric Garner's daughter says her father's death is about much more than race. That's next on the Infowars Nightly News.
And if you're not with them, cops and military, then you will declare that you're with the Republic now. And don't tell me that I'm a weirdo because I'm upset about this.
This is not a black and white issue. This is a national crisis.
A lot of people will be surprised because you know this is being made out to be a racial issue. And you're saying you don't think it's about race.
I can't really say it's like really a black and white issue. Mm-hmm. It's about, the police officers and abusing their power.
Yeah.
So that was Eric Garner's daughter saying exactly what we have been reporting all along. This is bigger than black versus white. This is about demanding accountability for an institution that holds a legal monopoly on violence. That's what this is about. And of course, you see how Don Lemon was really just continuing to pressure her to admit that this was about race. And she just held to her opinion that, no, she thinks it's bigger than that this is about the police, their abuse of their authority, and basically getting away with murder, and that is what we should be focusing on. The cousin of Michael Brown, Ty Pruitt, contacted Infowars to express his agreement that the protests against the deaths of Brown and Eric Garner should not be focused around race, but on preventing police brutality. Now, Pruitt was responding to a Paul Joseph Watson Facebook video rant in which he argued that social justice warriors are steering the protest movement away from true solutions by fanning the flames of racial division in America. And that is exactly it. When Rand Paul dared speak out against this narrative, and he tried to connect Garner's death with a ridiculous cigarette tax that was imposed, the people who support the superstate, the regulatory superstate, just went on attack against Paul, basically saying, how dare you pin blame on overregulation? It's only racism and the racist cops that put Eric Garner in an illegal chokehold that killed him. And indeed, that is the cause of death, according to the medical examiner. But the issue is, why were the police confronting him in the streets in the first place? Why were they confronting Garner, according to him and the police record, again and again and again, multiple times? That's why he said, every time you see me, you want to arrest me. They were confronting him because of selling loosies and that ridiculous cigarette tax imposed by the state of New York. Now, let's point out that Pantaleo, who applied the lethal chokehold on Eric Garner, was supervised by an African-American female NYPD sergeant. So having that black sergeant in charge of that crime scene takes race out of the equation. Now, as awful as Pantaleo's actions appeared on the video, at no time does that black sergeant order him to stop choking Garner. Now, you can see her in the full cut of the video, but that's not what is on a constant loop on all the mainstream media outlets for all the world to see. That is what the grand jury was able to see. Now, am I saying this because racism doesn't exist and racial profiling doesn't exist? Of course not. But that's what we're trying to point out, is that some of the facts are being overlooked in this case because the race hustlers want you to focus on what divides us. They don't want us to focus on what we can all agree on, is that we've got a police state that is not being held accountable, and we can unite against that and against this corruption and tyranny. Now, of course, black people are disproportionately arrested and incarcerated, of course, because of racial profiling. That means that they're going to be more susceptible to even interacting with police in the first place. But what's also a cause of this is over-criminalization. Stupid laws help kill people. Now, this is from Reason.com. They say when a million things are highly regulated or outright illegal, from cigarettes to sodas of a certain size, unlicensed lemonade stands, raw milk, alcohol, marijuana, food trucks, taxi cab alternatives, and even fishing supplies in schools, the unrestrained and often racist police force has a million reasons to pick on people. Punitive cigarette taxes, which disproportionately fall on the backs of the poorest of the poor, contribute to police brutality in the exact same way that the war on drugs does. If you want all of these things to be illegal, then you must want the police to force people not to have them. And Garner's daughter is right on the money with this by saying that this is a national crisis. It's a critical issue that's facing the nation. Now, police, like I said earlier, they have a legal monopoly on violence, but it's increasingly difficult to hold them accountable. Now, as we've seen, the cop who fatally shot Akai Gurley in a darkened stairwell, he didn't even bother to render aid or call the paramedics. He was allegedly texting his union representative while the man lay there dying. It was actually a neighbor who called 911. So here we have a cop who doesn't even check in with his commanding officer or call for help. They weren't able to get in touch with him for about 6 minutes. And there in that 6 minutes, he was allegedly calling his union representative first, not rendering aid to this man. He was calling for his union rep to help him. Help him out of the situation that he had gotten himself in. So, of course, totally negligent. And then, of course, we have the cop who fatally shot 12-year-old Tamir Rice in Cleveland. Well, he had already been judged unfit for police service. This was 2 years earlier, and he was judged unfit by a small suburban force where he worked for just about 6 months. He was specifically faulted for breaking down emotionally while handling a live gun during training. And his deputy chief of the police department there wrote in an internal memo stating, due to this dangerous loss of composure during live range training and his inability to manage this personal stress, I don't believe that Lohman has the maturity needed to work for the department. And he also didn't believe time nor training would be able to change or correct these deficiencies. So he's deemed unfit to work at a smaller police department. So what does he do? Move to a bigger police department where he's going to see even more action. So should we be holding the Cleveland Police Department accountable for not doing a better background check or doing their due diligence? And not only is it nearly impossible to charge a cop with a crime, but because of this lack of due diligence in the hiring process and unions, it's almost impossible to bar a bad cop from getting a job at all. Police are given a license to kill, so they should be held to the highest standards, period. Period and point blank. And where we are going to be able to affect real change is by uniting against this corrupt police force that can't be held accountable, by this corrupt establishment that can't be held accountable, seemingly can't be held accountable. If we could all just focus our collaborative energies on trying to take this down, that's where we will affect real change with power in numbers. And that's exactly why the establishment wants you to focus on race.
The government's always trying to demonize the people, the patriots, the liberty movement. They try to demonize good cops that act like human beings. They try to demonize people that try to bring folks together. Yeah, the toothless white trash and their federal Gestapo controllers are not welcome here in Central Texas where the real patriots reside. It's like, oh, shut up, crackerhead. You know you're racist. And it's just like, what? It's a eugenics operation. They're chemically murdering us, biologically murdering us. We're under a social grid to dumb us down. We're all in this together, and the globalists are taking a case that might be wrong, might be right, reasonable doubt, and making it, projecting it onto all of us. Like every white person's George Zimmerman, and every black person's Trayvon Martin.
You know, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
And now they're saying, gun owners, it's your fault Trayvon died. Man, don't you put that guilt on me. Don't you say I did that. I didn't kill those kids at Sandy Hook. I didn't go out there and shoot Trayvon Martin. How dare you get on my site and say you're going to kill me? You think I'm scared of that? I'm scared of the type of animal manipulation against different groups of human beings by the globalists to have us at each other's throats.
There's a level of disrespect for the office that occurs. And that occurs in some cases and maybe even many cases because he's African American. There's no question about that. And it's the kind of thing that nobody ever says, but everybody's thinking it.
I remember sitting in a meeting and being told that I need to own my whiteness and I need to own the fact that I have white privilege. I almost feel the embarrassment from it and the shame from it. Only then can I start breaking, down the walls and be able to teach my students of color and to reach out to them, which of course is absolutely absurd.
He probably can't win because he's black.
That's right. That's right. That's the psychology that's going on in our heads.
But not until and unless the number of white kids died that approximate the numbers of black and other kids who die will America see it's beyond logic, it's about rationality, it's about let's get something done.
And also it's about the fear of not having enough guns if the brown people or the black people rise up and come and get them.
Do you think that America is a more or less racist country since Barack Obama became president?
Wow, that's a powerful question. I think that people are angry that he's president, and I think that they're showing their true colors. And I think
able to dig up some emails that make part of the Affordable Care Act that doesn't look good, especially from people who've made up their mind that they don't want it to work because they don't like the president. Maybe he's of the wrong color, something of that sort. I've seen a lot of that, and I know a lot of that to be true.
We're not just dealing with a problem in 2014. We're not dealing with years of racism leading up to it or decades of racism. We are dealing with centuries of racism that have brought us to this day. That is how profound the crisis is.
And your thoughts on Mayor de Blasio suggesting that what we're dealing with here, what we're seeing in Ferguson and Staten Island, is the result of centuries of racism?
Irresponsible rhetoric, there's no doubt about it. Mayor de Blasio is placating to a segment of people in New York, and I find it shameful. I'm still waiting for some effective leadership, starting with reasonable messaging to kind of get so that we can get our arms around this thing and start moving in the direction that we need to move in.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At Infowars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com and to help others during Christmas by teaching them about the powerful benefits of silver. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with Super Male or Super Female Vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.